Lux Anguis here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my continuous journey from the path of Tiferes unto Geburah, from Geburah unto Chesed, and afterwards, of course, crossing of the abyss. In this today's segment will be two in one, so I will just give the complete story, line, and journey between what happened by me entering Geburah and later on moving to Chesed. So, as you know, I pursue Kabbalist initiations. So, if you are unfamiliar with it, I would pretty much ask you to educate yourself on Kabbalist initiations and why it is so important, which, of course, can also be me. But where? What happened at Tiferes at the end times of finishing Tiferes, where I basically was just done with this corresponding workplace where every damn person, every damn people there was just tricking me, abusing me, and I was just giving myself up selflessly like Jesus Christ on the cross to help these guys to sacrifice myself and to pass these tests, so to say. And I was basically done with it. And at the same time when I was done with it, there was a graffiti at the same time painted in the near of the wall of this firm. What it was like with 13. 30 is like the tarot card of death. Death, sacrifice, letting things go. So I did it. I let this job go. At the same time when I did that, another person called me up. It was like one of my how to say that, guides who helped me basically get a better job, so to say. So he called me up at the same time when I was ending this job, that there is another opportunity for me, that I can literally go right immediately on Monday. It was around Friday, Thursday, I'm not sure, where I ended the job there, and on Monday basically I started on this new job. This new job is where I started actually also at the same time on a Tuesday to initiate myself into Geburah. The Geburah is the sphere of Mars, of violence, of life energy, of passion, of war, of, also symbolically speaking of the pentacle and of aggression and of such. It's very, also besides the abyss, a very challenging sphere to go through. In this time period where I worked in this firm, it was a firm that was, it was a firm, because I don't like to name names, because I don't want to draw these people attention to me for whatever reasons. Um, it was a firm where you basically helped clean out rooms and resell old products, resell old stuff. You helped, yeah, you helped also the customers there if they need something, if they need a product that they have ordered, that you give it to them per number. So, but it was not a normal firm. It was like when you, for example, get old, you are about to die, or a relative of you is about to die, and they have so much old stuff there lying, and it's earth. We don't know what to do with it. You basically call us, and we come by and we basically clean it everything out, and some valuable stuff, we basically take it and we resell it on a market for for the buyer's price. The highest bidder, the highest bidder gets the product basically. So it was something like that. Like, it's and of course, me as a total beginner there, I was immediately sent to a workplace where there was a apartment to get cleaned out because a person died, and I went there, and the first symbolism there, of course, was because this person was also um, a high-ranking police officer, so to say. This person, like immediately, it was something to do with military, something to do with state and enforcing things, and this old person died, and we had to clean up his room. And immediately when we approached this place, at the top of these apartments, there are of course some bums in it. Some people who take drugs, who are on the daytime even drunk, who don't have jobs, anything like that. And this punk and this bum, he was like bald, and on his left side of his face was a huge pentagram tattooed on it, a pentagram, a pentacle, which is all associated with Geburah. So I then knew, like, oh damn, it begins. This right now begins. This whole initiation begins right now. I saw this person. He was like, hey, come up into my apartment, take a piss there, or go to our toilet, and like he tried to entice us in some weird way to get his apartment. And I knew that this guy hadn't any good intentions towards us. I think he was a criminal or something like that. But you would have suspected by a person having this huge tattoo of a pentacle on his left side of his face, being drunk and etc. So I knew, it will start. It will start. And I will just continue, I think, with the most crucial initiatory, also physical experiences, what happened there. The archangelic ruler Marquis there, basically, like this archangel actually has a good humor. Actually, I find this archangel very funny. This archangel has his own type of humor, that he tries to lift you up when the situations gets very heavy, so to say. It's also a side trivia experiencing with Archangel Charmer. And the next, a very interesting thing is, there was a person also which was like my friend there, or also my physical guide there. If he was like an embodiment of a spiritual guide, this person was very adept in astral traveling. He knew how to astral travel and to experience very heavy stuff in these aspects. And this person kind of was crazy. He was also kind of stuck in the abyss, certain degree. Like, he had a very rough and violent, a very, very violent childhood. What a coincidence. His uncle was also like a war veteran, which helped his country like to do secret operations. And there comes a crazy fly attacking me. Very interesting. um um he was like, his uncle was a war general, which taught him many lessons. One of the lessons that I clearly remember is, if you want to win a war, if you really want to win a war and become better, then I apologize, this fly is very, very distracting, but it's a part of this. Okay, it's a part of this, so hang on. That if you want to win a war, you must have knowledge of your enemies as much as possible. It's this type of guy. Like, this person was a agent or a general who kidnaps people to extract knowledge, so to say. And the other person who he like the person who was my physical guide, he teach me some crazy things in this regards, how to astral travel, how to do this, how to fight, how to harden your knuckles. You just basically regularly box your knuckles against wood or against sand, anything like that, and let it heal over time. When you're doing this regularly, you get pretty hard knuckles, you get pretty hard bone structure there to kick some people pretty heavily with it. You could just use these knuckles, knock it on wood, or use it, and with time, because you get a little bit breaks in your bones, it overgrows and becomes harder and bigger, so you can do some serious damage with it. And this guy has like literal like balls of knuckles, like I wouldn't want to fight this guy. If like he was so fearless, it was just crazy. This guy was just so crazy. He basically, he like, what this type of guy was. He was this type of crazy guy. Like he literally said, like, he doesn't fear shit. He doesn't fear death. He doesn't fear anything. Like, he knows that the physical life, like I know, is just a facade. It's just a machine we use and where the physical body is machine we use and where to live this physical life and to get its alchemical benefits. And this person knew that because he was very adept in astral traveling, soul traveling, such. And he was this type of guy. He basically, his last workplace, there was a very pesky boss there, which provoked him so much so because he was a foreigner, he was a foreigner, and the other guy was just because of his how he looked, because also, like, when I looked upon his face, he had many scars on his face, so I knew this guy was valid. Of course, I knew also some of his stories that he told came out of TikTok because he watched this stuff very much so. But when it comes to his story with his violence and his knowledge in his type of regards, like I saw it in his face. He had scars all over. He had scars all over his face, and his fists spoke for him. His fists and his behavior, his mentality spoke for him. So he wasn't scared of shit. He wasn't scared of shit. So his last boss that provoked him, he told him, this boss, that he should stop provoking him and stop doing his shit. And he even warned him, if he don't stop it, he will get literally physical problems also with him. So the boss still provoked him, and he basically threw the boss through another door, and the boss after that just was respectful towards him, stopped messing with him. And he didn't even do any police work, anything like that on him. He just completely understood it was his own fault that he did that shit to him. And yeah, it was an interesting experience. And yeah, this guy seemed also very unhealed. Also, he seemed very chaotic, very like a war veteran in a sense. He seemed like a war veteran, even though he wasn't that old, like in his early 30s or late 20s. He felt like a war veteran, like a person who went through war and was kind of traumatized and a little bit crazy, and have some experiences regards. And he taught me astral travel, what he knows, how you can do that, what secret knowledge there is, how you should proceed in war, how you should do with enemies. So this was like embodiment of this person. So yeah, and also notable experience I also had there. It was like an apartment, a crazy apartment. And as Mars in Geburah is associated with war and violence, this was like in the middle or near the end of my initiation. This place, there happened literally a crime, a violent crime. What a coincidence. This place was a den of a drug dealer and addict, and when I went into this place, the first thing you saw when you opened this apartment was just chaos all over the place, just mess. And the first you saw was dried blood on the doors, on at the beginning of the door, when you go, before you go into his living room and such. Like, when you went into his door, everything was stained with blood, stained with blood, dried blood. I found even there are some drugs, and I of course didn't take them. I threw them away because I do not want to bind myself to the spirit of drugs, to the spirit of marijuana. I don't like this stuff. Honestly, I really don't. Even though some people say, yeah, sometimes it's okay, the dose makes the poison, which is true. For me, people who are using these type of things are wackos. Most of them are slacking off sooner or later. When they're using this stuff, they become slacking off in their brain, in their aura, in their behavior. Doesn't matter which kind of drugs. So they slack off and become over time unsuccessful because of this. And yeah, I had also a key figure embodying this marijuana addict. Like this workplace was just a huge example for me what not to be. What where you should not put your passion in, where you should not end up, like what you should not do, what stuff like that. It was a place like that. Like there was this place, even with its work people, was filled. Some of them were all right. Some of them were okay people. I liked them. There you could tell with them, but all in all, they were not normal people. Some of them had criminal connections. Some of them had a violent past. Some of them were crazy. Some of them took drugs. Or like they should live their life. It's okay, but it's not something I want to associate myself with on a long term. And one person of it was literally like green in the face. This person was literally, because of his drug use of this plant, green in the face and pale, more paler than me, and I'm a pale person, and green and looked weird and looked like a zombie in a sense. And the other person who was going in the pension also looked like a ghoul in a sense, like a ghoulish person. But I also like this person. He was very wise, old, and I respect his work ethics, so to say, like his passion is. But yeah, but this drug then, this drug dealer then, it was like a highlight. Even though this place was filled with chaos, destruction, drugs, and blood and chaos, it was something to be seen. Even though it looks very chaotic, very a messy place. Of course, you cannot take photos; it's prohibited. But you can just imagine like the walls, everything, the windows were shut down. Everything was just pure dark. The walls was filled with Mario Kart atmospheres. The ceiling was filled with wool, like with. It looks like the ceiling was filled with cotton that should resemble the sky and clouds, and in the clouds was built in a Mario Kart railway, and it was a mixture of childish stuff that this person kind of wanted to reconnect with his inner child in a sense, and it was filled with displays, with so many material things, because this person, I think, unconsciously knew his time was coming, and he basically used up all his money to fulfill his childish desires before he was murdered. Basically, he was murdered and killed because of his bad decisions in life. And I cleaned this everything up. I took from it physically and metaphysically what it needed to show me, what needed to teach me by the paper and everything. And I am thankful for them, even though there were fucked up situations. Oh, if I'm thinking about my last job there was an apartment. It was literally filled with the stench of cat piss, filled with the stench of cat shit, filled with the stench of blood of this guy cutting himself, filled with the stench of rotting things. and it was filled with this rotting shit piss. This was the highlight of the highlights. This guy still lived, but this guy was a deranged alcoholic, a raging alcoholic, and everything was just a total mess. Police, law, everything was involved to get this guy out, and we had to clean his shit up, literal shit up. And I will never forget this stench. I will never forget this stench. Honestly, it's horrible to even think about it. So yeah, you can just imagine such a difficult things you must go through it. Such difficult things you need to go through on the physical plane sometimes if you are initiating seriously in a tree of life. Even though it's tree of life, you see, you listen, it's still a very, very challenging experience to go through. I just can imagine how it will be in the tree of death in a clip of them. But at the end of the Geburah initiation, I had a huge, like it's for the pinnacle of it, I had a huge conflict with my mother. Like we had usually this conflict with each other, with so many things, because I worked still so many damn places, and every of these places was just fucked up. I don't know, I just worked in fucked up places because of my initiations. I was led to these places. This was no coincidence. Like if the person with this pentacle on the face, Geburah pentacle, like every place that I went through was in complete congruence with my initiations that I have started for myself. And my mother was just completely frustrated with me. In a sense, why I couldn't hold anything, why I couldn't walk this place, because it was just a fucked up place to be and to stay on the long term. And not only that, she was just generally frustrated with me because I am so different. I have different opinions than her. I see the things differently than her. I have different goals than her that she sees for me. I I have a completely different mentality, and we basically ram each other in each heads. We don't come into congruence with each other, and she basically forces her opinion upon me, and we had a huge fight, with a huge fight. But this fight, even though it was very nasty in a sense, we both cried. We both came to conclusions that we cannot continue on like this, and she decided basically that I should go to therapy. We both go to therapy. We both go this person that she also trusted to go to therapist, and we both talk to the therapists what our situation is. And I'm telling you, the therapist kinda made my past and the present, thus the future, with understanding easier. And I think this therapist is also an initiatory figure in my life. She embodies Binah. She's an older woman. She's like, if you follow the Matrix, or if you ever watch the Matrix, she's like this oracle, she's this wise motherly figure, this Binah figure, this old motherly figure that knows best and gives you advices, that teaches you, that kind of opens up your mind about the past and future and possibilities. This was this kind of figure that I initiated myself when I approached Chesed and Story the Abyss. In Chesed, this was the story with Geburah. It was just filled with peace, literal peace, filth, drugs, bad people, criminals, PTSD, crime scenes, and such. It was filled with this. And at the end of it, a nasty, with a good end, fight with a mother. And when I came to Chesed, basically, when we went, like I literally made the ritual to initiate myself in a Chesed, and then we talked with my mother with a therapist, what is our situationship, why I think like that, why I have a head like that, why I go in this way, why I behave this way. And this person, this therapist, of course she's a professional and such, but she embodies literally like the great mother in a sense, this great old mother who has wisdom, knowledge, is pragmatic, and can help situationships out with her knowledge. Binah is understanding, and she literally embodies understanding to a huge degree. And she brought so deep understanding into my childhood and with my relationship with my mother, and my mother, her relationship to me, that we both started to understand each other, me and my mother, in a much more deeper way. And thus we could alleviate grudges that we had or have to each other. Like we had grudges or some negative perspectives, especially my mother towards me, that she kind of started to really understand for real, and showed mercy. It's very interesting. Now I approached Chesed, the pillar of mercy, where my mother showed mercy towards me in a sense, and the situation generally showed slowly but surely mercy towards me. And in Chesed, I also was pulled down in the cliff of, Chesed is near abyss, so it kind of allowed me to get down to cliff of, and also with my arrangements with Queen Hecate, because Queen Hecate literally rules the tree of life and death. She can grant you the ability to jump the trees and its atmosphere and spheres if you have made a pact arrangement with her or deeper workings with her. She can grant you the ability to jump the spheres on each tree. So I was put down by another, which I will keep him private, because he is like a Brazilian black magician, a masterful magician who is fully initiated in Tree of Death. You will never know this guy. He is not on YouTube or not on TikTok, Instagram, uh, and where I got to know him was from a good friend of mine. He came in contact with him for whatever reasons, and this guy was for real. Like, this person was a real for real black magician. Like, you felt it in his voice. Like, when he spoke, you felt like it's a complete different vibe with him. It's not it's a huge respect I have for this guy, and he basically guided me through certain meditations and through certain programming through the Tree of Death unto Samael. It still was an intense experience, but I will not go into details with it because it isn't applicable for now. But I was put in a clip off in this time period, weirdly enough, until Samael. And after Samael, I was on back to Chesed, and then I started to initiate myself in the Chesed. And in this time period, I also got to know another mentor of mine, which was a pretty much a little bit more younger person than me, but this guy was very successful. Chesed, the planet Jupiter, is of success, the image, or the image of God, or people who want to be like God. This person was very young, very successful financially speaking. He was independent. He helped his parents to go early in rent. Like, he knew what, like, and he had money. He even showed me his account. Like, this was his money, and it goes into millions, And so this guy wasn't a con artist. So this guy was the real deal. And he basically invited me to his group. It was a group where you basically learn how to trade in cryptocurrency and how to build your own business up, how to build your own Instagram page up, and of such stuff. which many people had success with, and I also see myself having success with it, but I instinctually knew this was just a phase. This was just another energy that I needed to interact with, to get its beneficial energies integrated into my system. So this person, my mentor in this time period, taught me, took me by my hand, and kept me accountable to learn the basics of trading and such, and to learn financial independence, financial knowledge. And I was just filled virtually with people with success, people who expanded the empire, people who made for real huge amounts of money, people who were artificially successful. Now these people were very materially successful and such, but I knew this felt inauthentic to me. I knew this is like, and even I was at the end of it even forced. I was at the end of it even forced to let it go, because I became more and more into money problems or money debts, and I needed to pull myself out of it. And it just happened organically, naturally. The more I approached the abyss, the more I approached the abyss, the more I understood the teachings, what they showed me in this glamour and this expansion and this money, etc., etc. And then one day they wanted to invite me to a ritual. It's happened like in every 2 years or 3 years. Happens like a big event where one of the most richest guys on the planet, on this earth, most successful richest guys on this earth meet together, and to transform each other because of this mass collective of successful people. And at this time I was coincidentally broke, or couldn't go there for whatever reasons. And I also knew I was done with this initiation, because this person, I don't know everything out of my head what this person told me, but it was very important for me to know, because this person basically taught me and opened for me opportunities that I needed to have in this time period of my initiation. And then I knew I must move on, I must let go, and this person basically retracted for me. I retracted from them, and we stopped walking together. And then I slowly and surely approached the abyss. And the abyss story is, yeah, it from the abyss there comes another video. Even on my Patreon I will release a very crucial information on the abyss. Besides other huge useful steps I think anybody can use in a Patreon, I will also release very important knowledge in regards to the abyss, and why the abyss, even though it's a Sephiroth tree of life, it's still very important for black magicians or negative polarized soul to go through. But yeah, I think this was everything I needed to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to my initiation between Geburah and Chesed. Or than that, Naga bless, and we shall see and hear us surely again.